Hey, it's Hersh, and today I'll be finally introducing you guys to my original characters. I've been promising to make more OC content for at least 4 months, but I procrastinated making a video on this because I kept on adding more and more to my story, and then restarting it again because I thought the plot was too complicated or too basic. At this point, I still don't have an actual storyline set, but I do have most of the world building done, so I thought that I'd finally start revealing more about the characters themselves. The story name will remain a mystery for now, but I have picked one out that I think matches it pretty well, though like everything else, it is subject to change. For outlining the sketchbook spread, I was originally using my black microns, but I didn't like how thick it looked, so I switched to using one of my gel pens afterwards. I think it's called a Zebra Sarasa gel pen or something. So starting off, I'm going to be talking a bit about the OCs themselves, which stands for original characters if you didn't know that already. The top 3 from left to right are Kai, Rowan, and Maya. So Maya and Kai are twins while Rowan is close to both of them and they're all just childhood friends. At the bottom, the guy on the left is Ace and the girl on the right is Rue. There are 2 other OCs who are kind of involved with the story, but they're not part of the main grouping, at least not for now. Between these 5, I say the main trio is definitely Rowan, Kai, and Maya, but Rue and Ace also play an interesting part in the story. As for the character relationships, Kai and Rue are currently dating, and Maya and Kai know Rowan because they live close to each other, which is kind of how they met as kids, and Rue is a good friend of Rowan's. They bond over dyeing their hair and whatnot. Ace is also part of the friend group through Maya because they share a lot of classes together, but Ace and Rowan don't really like each other that much. You could call it like a friendly rivalry of sorts, but yeah. The other 2 OCs that aren't in this video are named Ash and Daphne, but I might change them because I don't know if I like how it fits with their characters or not. Daphne is also friends with Maya and Rue, and Ash is mainly friends with Kai. In the friend group, Ace and Maya are probably the responsible ones who kind of are quote-unquote the parents of the group, while Rue is the chaotic one who wreaks havoc everywhere she goes, and Kai is the cinnamon roll while Rowan is probably the funny one with sarcastic humor or something. So if you guys have been with my channel for like the past 2-ish years, I think, you'll probably know about my other OC universe. I kind of gave up on that one because it seemed really bland, but I did choose to bring over Rowan from that world into this new one. I think he's the first OC that I ever actually created and like made a whole backstory and like figured out all his details of. And if you did see the old trading cards video that I made a couple years ago, you'll know that he actually had red hair before. His natural hair color is black though, by the way, but he likes to dye it. Anyways, I think I have emotional attachment to him, so he's part of this world now. I actually might do a remake of the trading cards video with my new OCs that I'm drawing right now soon, so if you guys would like to see more OC content, then let me know. If you are curious about my other OC universe, there's a couple of videos about my old OCs, who were Serafina, Io, and Rose, I think. I also might do a character introduction video where I talk about each character for a couple of minutes and then kind of explain their backstory and personality separately instead of just grouping it together into one big video like this. So this is a magical based world, meaning there are a lot of fantasy elements involved. Basically, there are 2 main sources of magic, I guess you could call it, and it's light and shadow, or like light and dark magic, though I am coming up with cooler names at the moment. So when people are born, they either have a light aura or a dark aura that affects their soul's ability to channel that respective element, and almost always people have at least 95% of their soul in one of the elements, which is either light or shadow, so it's pretty much impossible for them to channel the other element. However, Maya and Kai, who are the main characters in my story, are a bit different because of the fact that they're twins. Twins are extremely rare in this world, seeing as there's only been 2 other pairs of twins that have been born. However, I'm not going to get too much into that because that deals with the lore that I'm probably going to explain in a different video. Also, there is like this theory going around that people usually get the element that they can channel from their parents. So if both of their parents are shadow manipulators, then they're more likely to become one themselves. Similar to if both of your parents have black hair or something, then you most likely will too, because it's like something in the genes. However, this theory isn't proven, so no one really knows or like does anything in correlation to this unless they come from a higher ranking family or a family that's more prestigious. So obviously Maya and Kai are unique when it comes to channeling their respective elements. Oh, I think it would be a good idea to also list who can channel which element. So Maya and Ace are both shadow manipulators, while Rowan, Kai, and Rue are all light manipulators. I might actually change Ace and Rowan's manipulation powers because of some later events in the story though, but I'm not going to go into that too much right now. So in each of the elements, or light and shadow elements, there are different things that people can sort of focus on. Like, I'll just list some for example. So like, if you are a shadow manipulator, you can shadow travel, which basically means you can blend into shadows and allow it to take you to a different location that also has shadows, or you can like create objects out of shadow particles or something like that. There are multiple for each type of manipulation, same for light manipulation. Also, Pretty much anyone can do any skill with training, but some might find it difficult to do than others just because it's hard for them to learn. Similar to how in real life, some people might find it harder to do some things rather than others. There are also some types of like healing and combat. There's a bunch of different ones, but I still have to like make an actual guide for myself to reference later on. Also, some people, especially to those who are younger or maybe even some who are older, might use channeling assistants like knives or books to help them channel their specific element, whether that's light or shadow, because it'll really help if their power is too weak or too out of control. Actually, Rowan needed to use a dagger to channel his element for quite a while, and even now he uses it from time to time because he's just used to it by now, and it's too powerful when it gets out of control since he didn't use it that much as a child. Anyways, they can use things like books to also help them channel it, and there are also things like incantations that can help your magic become stronger for small periods of time. Now I'm going to be talking a bit about the drawing. I think the first picture is actually aged down a bit from when the story takes place, the one with the trio at the top. I think it's probably like around their first year at the academy, and the story takes place in their second or third year. I haven't decided yet. So in the second picture, Ace, which is the guy on the left again, is mad at Rue, who's the girl on the right, because she didn't study for her test at all, and Ace didn't want her to fail the class. Like I said, he's definitely the responsible one. I really like this spread because of how I chose to color the hair for each character. I actually did like a different style for pretty much everyone. Actually, Rowan's and Rue's kind of look similar because of the way that their hair is dyed. But I think Maya's turned out the best, or in my opinion it did, because I based hers most off the digital drawings that I did before because it's easier to pick out marker colors when you know what type of shade you want. I think this is actually the first time that I've successfully colored her hair because the under hair color, which is actually bleached, usually either looks like too white or comes out looking too vibrant and like yellow. So I actually really like the colors that I used this time for it. I also gave the trio at the top their school uniforms, though I might change how it looks because it looks really basic right now, but I still want their school color to include red because I think it matches with most of their color palettes. For the two at the bottom, I just left them with like regular clothes and I just kind of went with that. Now while I'm coloring Ace, I did struggle a bit to find his skin tone. I only did one digital drawing of him before. I did an old one, but I didn't like how the skin tone looked in that one because it looked way too yellow for my art style. So I decided to change it to this more pinky tone, and I went in with like this honey color undertone, I think. And then I went over it again with a regular color, and I actually really like this method because it gave the drawing like a really nice look. I actually did struggle a bit to color Ace's hair because it's like this sort of silvery white color, or it's not white, it's a little bit more gray, and it's also a little bit tan, and I have never colored a hair color like that, so it did take me a little bit to figure out how to do. I think if I try and practice it a couple more times, I'll figure out the color combination that I like, but for this one, it came out a lot more darker than intended because originally I went in with the super pale color, but then once I started adding shadows, it started getting out of hand because I went too ham with the accent colors, and I added a bunch of like purples and blues, and I don't know, I just don't really like how it looks anymore, and I didn't add a highlight like I did with Kai's hair, which is kind of what I was going for. Anyways, I think it did turn out fine though, and I tried blending a bit of his skin tone into the hair color, even though I wasn't sure how well that was going to look because his skin tone is darker. I actually really like how I did that in Kai's hair as well because his skin tone kind of matches with his hair color, which is like a brown color. Now I'm getting on to coloring Rue. I had a lot of fun coloring her expression because it's like more expressive than what I usually do, and it's not like a regular expression or like a regular styled expression. She definitely has a watermelon color scheme going on, and I don't know how I ended up with that because I wasn't even thinking about it. And then after I designed her, one of my mutuals on Instagram was like, oh, she kind of looks like a watermelon. And I was like, oh yeah. So that's kind of how she ended up like this. I did pretty minimal shading for the bottom too because I wanted the top ones to take more attention, but I accidentally ended up making their picture smaller than the bottom one, so I did have to end up filling in more space. Now for finishing touches, I added like a light purple background behind all the characters, and I also added some white gel pen highlights. This drawing was really fun to draw and color, and it's actually been a while since I actually finished a whole video in one sitting without getting bored or abandoning the drawing halfway through. I'm super happy with how this drawing came out, and I hope you guys like it as well, and I also hope you guys enjoyed meeting my OCs. I will definitely be doing more OC content in the future now that I've actually committed to it, and I hope that I'll find a storyline that'll fit the story that I'm going for soon. If you guys have any ideas or want me to include anything in my next OC video, then comment that down below. Also tell me if I should do one big character introduction video or if I should separate it into different parts, if I introduce one character at a time and I go fully in depth with them, or if I just do one big one and I include all the characters, and it'll probably also be a longer video than usual. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!